Hi guys, welcome. Hopefully everything is fine now. I had some trouble setting up the stream and I don't know if there's anyone in chat already besides me. And I know there's a 15-second delay between me live here and the chat. I should be working on a project, so. Hi Steve, hi Steve. Oh, I'm going to. Let me know if there's something wrong with the audio, because I had some troubles setting up the stream. For some reason, there's a huge delay between my streaming software and YouTube. So sometimes I've started the stream on my device and still YouTube says it isn't live yet, and then when I try to fix it, YouTube closes the stream. So that's why there's often only a few seconds video of the beginning of the stream. So that's a bit unfortunate. How are you guys doing? Sound is fine. All right, thanks. Oh. Yeah, unfortunately no video today. I didn't manage to get it edited and upload it on time, unfortunately, so I thought why not do an extra live stream instead. Doing all right, TOES. Good to hear, good to know. And for anyone wondering, today I'm making my own side dots, orange side dot material. All right, good. Just finished work. So time for dinner then, Steve. Hi Papa, welcome to the stream from California. So it's still early morning then, I think. Halfway through the morning. Arizona. So we're 9 hours ahead. All right. Yeah. Good morning to you all then. And good evening to Steve. Cool. Luckily they've changed. There was an update on my streaming software, and luckily I can now read chat easier. Dinner maybe later. Interested to see where you are up to with your build. Yeah, I've just finished the inlays yesterday on both fretboards, but they're inside the house. They're still curing at the moment. So, and because I only finished those inlays I've been working on for the last week, just yesterday morning I didn't have any time left to edit the video. I still have to sort through, I think, what was it? About 300 gigs of footage. So it's still a lot of work. Usually it takes me a day to edit one video. So it takes me 8 to 10 hours to edit a 1 hour episode. So I have to find the time this week to do so. But right now on stream, like I said, I'm working on making my own side dot material. I want them to be orange, and this is a piece of acrylic I've cut square, a 3x3 millimeter square, and now I'm using this handmade tool. It's just a blade and 3 sizes of holes. You can see I've drilled in a block of wood with a little hinge on one side, and the knife is just above the edge of the holes, so I can flip it close, clamp it together just with my hands, and keep running the acrylic rod back and forth until it's round and the blade doesn't take any material anymore, and then I can go to the smaller hole and start the same process over again. And I tried different methods. I tried sanding it, putting it in my cordless drill. Nothing worked. Either the acrylic melted or snapped or twisted. And I found that scraping it is the best method. And instead of using a scraper, I can now just pull it back and forth through this little jig until I'm to the correct and desired diameter. Hi Sean, good morning. I think New York is also morning. Good to have you on stream on this Monday. And guys, as always, if you have any questions, suggestions, things you want me to talk about, things you want to see, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Yeah, it's a nice little tool, Papa. Yeah. And I need to adjust it a bit.
DOES supported the channel and said, just discovered you from trying to get tips on soldering an output jack. Very helpful and fascinating. Clapping hands, medium dark skin tone, sign of the horns, medium dark skin tone.
Thank you very much, TOES. Thank you very much for your tip. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Glad you found, glad one of my videos helped you with your project. I hope at least it helps you. Oh yeah, I've got my announcements set up. Thank you. Yeah, I might need to put up a disclaimer that subscriptions, super chats, and tips get announced, and there's some other hidden features in the stream. There also should be a chat bot. I haven't tried it, but there should be a bot. I think if you type /commands or /bot, yeah, there should be a bot as well. Yeah, all tips and all super chats go into getting more equipment for the stream. And I noticed my face is a bit dark. I want to have a cozy stream, but it's a bit dark. Here we go. Thank you. Nope. Bit of adjustment to do. If anyone has a suggestion on, I don't know, improving this method, I'm all ears. I thought it wouldn't take me this long to do, to be honest. Your workshop looks great, not too big, everything within reach. Yeah. Luckily, I have everything within reach, and that's the nice part. The downside is workshop tends to get too small too quick. Especially when I want to make jigs. Not necessarily machines, but if you want to make a lot of jigs, they also take up a lot of space. And yeah, I'm running out storage space already. Oh, is this sound annoying you guys? Goth Rider Creations, is this squeaking sound annoying you? Let me know. I didn't wear a lav mic or a lapel mic on purpose, because that would definitely pick up the squeaking sound. But if this sound annoys you too much, let me know. The sound of scraping plastic. I hadn't thought about that this could be very annoying coming through speakers, especially if you're wearing headphones. Oh, lovely hairdo today. Alright, it's fine, it's fine. Alright. do I have? I'm thinking if I have an example of the inlays I was working on. Not really, maybe. Yeah, TOES, thank you very much for joining the stream, and thank you very much for the tip. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad my video helped you with your project. So yeah, see you in the next time. Have an amazing day. Yeah. Yeah, God Rider, you're right. I'm happy to be back, and it isn't always easy. There are still many pitfalls, and it has its ups and downs. I had a couple of days I couldn't be in the workshop, and to be honest, last weekend I had a bit of a setback. Also, when doing the inlays. It got a bit rough, and I had to leave the workshop for a couple of hours and get a hold of myself again. But yeah, I'm really glad to be back in the workshop, and although it's slow going, I really want the Phoenix guitar to be the best I can, and I just want to take my time. But I already can feel the pressure of making videos, of not being fast enough, of taking too much time to build a guitar, to have maybe an endless YouTube series. Yeah, so the pressure is already on, and hopefully once the fretboard is done, and when I'm going to carve the neck, and especially when I start working on the body for the Phoenix guitar, I might get back in the flow and things might speed up a bit more. So yeah, so it has its ups and downs, especially the last 2 weeks have been a bit rough. But yeah, overall I'm very happy to be back in the workshop, and doing these live streams is more fun than I imagined, and I wish I've done this years ago. I really love the live streaming. And I'm thinking about maybe doing a build fully in a live stream, and that's why I'm trying to save up for additional gear. So hopefully a secondary camera and maybe a gimbal or something that can follow me around in the workshop while I'm doing, for example, a live build. Unfortunately, I don't have a camera man or woman who can follow me around the workshop. Yeah, every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Yes, indeed. And it's all about how you cope with and how you deal with making those mistakes. I'm learning. A couple of years ago I couldn't handle mistakes at all. I couldn't handle them at all, let alone show them in a video. It was my worst nightmare, screwing something up on tape or on video, but that goes better. But I can feel the pressure of having to release videos, and I know most of you guys don't mind waiting a week or maybe 2, but it's something that lives up here, that I have to keep making content. And also I don't want to spend months or maybe half a year or even a year on building one guitar. Maybe I should if it's a masterpiece and the best guitar ever made, but it's something I still have difficulties with. The timeline, especially now that there is also some repairs and setups coming from clients. So that's a good thing, but it means less time to build, less time to make videos when working on customers' guitars, because they have priority. Not unfortunately. Unfortunate for you guys, client guitars have priority. Very fortunate for me because it's a client. Yeah, Papa, it takes time to do it right. Yes, indeed. Even making side dots takes a lot of time. I wish I knew an easier method. Glad to hear it. And don't rush, quality takes time. I've put up a video in the early 3 months. With family and stress. Yeah, be aware of stress. Be very aware of stress, Ghost Rider, because it's literally a killer. So, coming from me, but do as I say, don't always do as I do. Yeah, try to keep stress at bay to a minimum. Which guitar am I most proud of? And hi, Mr. Waffles. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jeffrey. Mr. Waffles. Pressure is for tires. Take as long as you need. We are here. Yeah, for the long haul. Thank you, Steve. And Ralphie T. Which guitar am I most proud of? Ooh. I think a guitar I've sold. The first guitar... Was it the first guitar I've sold? Yeah, the first guitar I've sold. It was the Celtic Nessa. And there isn't any video of that guitar, because when I made that guitar I didn't have a YouTube channel, I believe. No, I didn't have a YouTube channel yet. And it's basically a Nessa guitar with an aged maple top. I aged it with vinegar and steel wool. And it has a aluminium Celtic braid design inlay over the body, similar to the Celtic Sonia, which is on my channel, but now it's just made out of cut aluminium pieces, so not wire inlay, but a full inlay on the body. And it was an early guitar of mine, which turned out perfect. The playability was amazing, and it was the first guitar I sold to someone I didn't know prior to selling the guitar. So that's something I'm really proud of. That's what started the entire journey for me with Inquendo guitars, to some extent, to try and make it into something more than just a hobby. So yeah, that's I think the guitar I'm most proud of. And maybe if you go on my website, in the gallery, photo gallery, there should be pictures of that guitar. It's an aged maple top on, I believe, I can't remember if it was a mahogany body. I think it was a mahogany body. Yeah, it was a great guitar, and I love. I had in the previous workshop I had the inlay hanging on the wall. I have to see where that printout went and have to put it up on the wall again, because it was, yeah, if I'm thinking about that guitar, amazing guitar. Sean, yeah, building guitars has been the main release from depression and anxiety. Yeah, that's something I've seen a lot, especially on my I can't recall what the video was called. Depression and anxiety keep me out of the workshop. I think that video that got so many reactions of people telling me how my channel and how building guitar has helped them to overcome anxiety and depression. I think building itself is also very relaxing for me, being here in the workshop and building guitars, making stuff, not even guitars, but making stuff, very relaxing. But it's mostly the fear of failure, fear of missing uploads, fear of not being good enough on YouTube, the fear of failing a business, failing my wife, who is supportive, very supportive of me, but failing her by spending a lot of time and money in my dream, in my passion, and not being able to give her something in return, so to say. So those are hard topics, and those are for the most part my fears and things that cause anxiety. Perfection is one of them, of course, but if there's no one looking, I'm not too afraid to make mistakes. Thank you very much for the super chat, Steve. And I don't know why there should be an announcement on screen, but thank you very much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, waffles, long time, sir. Can I? Unfortunately, it doesn't. Let's see, it doesn't update my. I hope it will update my screen, Steve, and otherwise I have to look into it. But thank you very much for your contribution and your support for the channel. And yeah, like I said, this will go into the new gear fund to hopefully allow me to get some new gear to even improve the stream some more. Oh, Jeffrey, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm scraping my own side dot material to the correct diameter. I want it to be about 2 mils, 2.5 mils. And it started out as a 3 mil by 3 mil square of acrylic, orange acrylic. And I want to have orange side dots on this guitar, on the Phoenix Rising. But I couldn't find any orange side dot material, and I've thought about using maybe the filament, 3D printing filament that's available in orange, but not in the correct diameter I want. It's a bit too small, I think. So I thought, why not try and make my own side dot material by just taking some acrylic, cut a little square, and I made a little tool, which is basically just a block of wood with 3 holes in it, 4, 3 and 4.5, 3.5 and 2.5 millimeter holes, and a little blade that's just sticking proud of the underside of this hole. Little hinge, and now I can just by hand clamp the acrylic in and just pull it through until it's nice and round, and the tool doesn't scrape any material from it, and then I can go to the next hole and smooth it even further and make it even a smaller diameter. Oh, that sounds like a very interesting book, Mr. Waffles. I have to maybe look into it. I don't want to talk about it. And I hope I can get the live chat replay on these videos. But for some reason, when I start a stream from this bit of software, it doesn't show the live stream replay. And I've already contacted the publisher of this streaming software I'm using to see if they can have more options available in setting up a stream. And also, for example, I can't see how many of you guys are watching. Because also the YouTube dashboard doesn't show, or the dashboard on mobile, the YouTube Studio dashboard on mobile doesn't show any live stream activities. Yeah, but I lost my square hole drill. I know they exist for drilling mortises, but I don't think they're small enough for side dots. I have to focus for. It's ending up a bit oval or ellipse shaped. Oh! The koi fish are fighting. I don't know if you guys heard all the splashing, but it started to rain and that drove the koi fish mad. It says 15 people are watching. Whoa! Nice, nice, nice. When you first started designing guitars in your head, what did you want to do? And have you built it yet? When I first started designing guitars, I've been designing guitars and drawing guitars from a very, very young age. And of course I started with drawing Flying V's, Explorer type guitars, fantasy guitars, star-shaped guitars, and you name it. Was it actually designing? Yeah, I maybe. Of course, I didn't know anything about proportions, and it was more of graphical design than it was actually engineering a guitar. Because I think, yeah, in product design there's a lot, if done correctly, there's a lot of engineering involved already at the design stage. And the first guitar I designed was very much like the Nessa now is. The top horn was a bit different. Was a bit different. It looked more like maybe more like a Strat, but the top horn was a bit longer. And what I did was I took a close look at all kinds of guitars I liked and were out there, like a Les Paul, like Ibanez Super Strats, like a PRS. And I took design elements from those guitars which I liked and which I don't like, and started designing a guitar with those likes and dislikes in mind. For example, I really don't like the way Fender attaches their necks to their guitars. I don't like the big lump of wood, a big square block of wood underneath the heel of the neck. I just don't like the look of it. It isn't comfortable when you're soloing and you're hitting your thumb on that big block of wood. Oh, I have to keep in mind there's a knife here, a blade. You're hitting your thumb on the back of your body already and such. Also reach when you have 22, 24 frets, but they're halfway up the body, so you can't reach it because the cutaway on the bottom is too shallow or such. So I took those elements I liked, elements I didn't like, and started designing yeah, a body shape and a neck shape and a headstock shape in some CAD software, and I went from there. Good evening, Paul. Nice to see you in the stream. Yeah, dances with aardvarks. I've tried that. I've tried to make a, how do you call it? A dowel plate. But when I pulled on the acrylic, it snapped. It keeps snapping. and that's because you have to take off so little increments each time that it was easier to scrape it, and I recreated that kind of tool more or less with this. And I can also notice when I'm squeezing this too hard, I can't pull on the acrylic. It bites in, so I have to take it very slowly. And I realized this when that plate with holes didn't work, and I used a scraper, just a cabinet scraper, to remove some marks left by that plate. And then I thought, well, scraping goes easy, but having it on my bench and using a cabinet scraper was a bit tedious. And I thought, why not make a little tool like this? And essentially it works the same way as a cabinet scraper. And I can take just small increments, because I can quickly feel if I'm pressing down too hard or not hard enough. Because I had a variation of this tool where I put a clamp on here just to clamp it down and try to adjust that clamp, but it was also too tedious to do, and this is the easiest. It only takes more time than I expected to do, but hey, when I'm streaming and chatting with you guys, I have something on hand to do. "17 people, including my wife." All right. Hi, Retro Studio. Hi. Thank you. Dances with Artworks. Yeah, it might not be the best solution, but it's the best I could think of. And it seems to work. And luckily I don't have to do this on an industrial scale. Oh, it almost broke. Would you ever consider a CNC machine? After last week, yes. Well, maybe not a CNC machine necessarily. Maybe I'm a bit torn at the moment between getting a small CNC machine to help me do inlays, because I have great ideas about inlays, and I think I'm at a point that doing it by hand might not be precise enough anymore. And it all depends if you like the aesthetic of handmade. If you know what I mean, if you're routing a offset, for example, by hand, if you're routing your inlay by hand and you want to use contrasting colors, like I did with this inlay. It's aluminium, or I can show you guys. Wait a second. I don't know if it shows up on camera. Here we go. But the inlays for this guitar are going to be an aluminium Phoenix, and it has an offset, so all around all the tiny aluminium pieces there's 0.5 millimeter of a gap, and it's filled with orange resin to give the inlay an outline. It's called, of course, a 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter orange outline. And that's, I experienced this weekend that it's very hard to do by hand with a Dremel. I think I've got a decent result. This is a test piece, and the resin is still curing because it takes a week to fully cure before you can sand it off or scrape it away. And things like that, I want to do more things like that, more intricate inlays, intricate carvings. And because I'm a technical guy and an exact guy. If I want to have a millimeter outline around an edge, for example, it has to be a nice even millimeter all around an inlay piece, for example. And when it's only 3/4 of a millimeter, or maybe there's a tiny bit of a wider section or a narrower section, it tends to bother me. And to be able to work at that precision for inlays mostly, I think a small, I'm in doubt of getting either a small CNC machine, a laser engraver, cutter, or maybe a shaper, the shaper Origin, and because that I can use that to do intricate inlays, but also as a router to route pickup cavities, Floyd Rose cavities, and you name it, without the need of templates. And all those machines, a mid-range CNC machine, or a good laser cutter engraver, or a shaper, they're all around the same amount to buy. But yeah, I can only unfortunately spend my money once, and I can't have all three. And when I'm not sure what to get, what's best to get, I tend to not get anything at all. And then I get stagnant and don't buy anything at all until I'm sure there's a need for something, an absolute need. And I'm not someone who buys tools just because I can. I will have or I should have a need for them before I'm buying. Pretty cool project you're working on. Thank you. Yeah, a pin router, and it's funny, that's something when I'm here in the Netherlands no one has ever heard, unless they spend a lot of time on YouTube or have been to the States, for example. When I talk to people, no one seems to know what a pin router is. And I can't find any. Yeah, I'm leaning towards a laser cutter retro studio, because that opens up other possibilities as well. Not only for my own guitar making, but I frequently get asked if I can provide templates, if I can make templates for someone. The jigs I'm using, some of the templates I made, for example, for the Floyd Rose tremolo routing. I have a jig system for that. That would be good to, or that would be very suitable to make on a laser cutter, and then I can make those available for you guys. So I'm starting to lean more and more towards a laser cutter. But yeah, a good one is expensive. But that's the thing with tools, guys. There's a difference between being expensive or being too much money. Too much money is when you don't get value for your money. Or that's expensive. Do I say this correctly? Yeah, expensive is when you don't get a good value for your money. And it's a lot of money. That's when it is indeed a lot of money, but you get good value for your money. If that makes any sense. I have to translate it in my head because there's a Dutch saying for that, but I hope I got it the right way around. Oh, thank you. My wife is no longer in chat because she's getting me some coffee. And guys, if you like to get yourself a nice Enquendo guitar, new logo, cup, nice to have in your workshop because it's unbreakable, or take it camping with you. It's a good workshop mock. You can find it in my store. That's usually underneath my my videos. And also that goes into making this content and making sure I can keep making these videos for you guys. And I think we talked about this to laser cutters and CNCs. I think we also talked about it in a previous stream, maybe last stream, while I was making the inlays. I can't recall. Any other questions? Let me see. Steve had... Ah man, the super chat doesn't update. Oh, we're still live, yeah. Which part of the guitar making process do I enjoy most? Ooh. It used to be inlays. Inlays, fretwork, carving. There are so many. It also highly depends on my mood, of course. And sometimes I like, for example, fretwork a lot because it takes a long time. It takes about a day to do a full fret job, if done correctly. And what I like about that is that I can film for a couple of moments. I can focus on filming for a couple of minutes, doing 2 frets, for example, pressing in 2 frets, and then I can put the camera aside, and then I can put on some music or put on a video or something like that, and just zone out for an hour or 2. Do some work, then get the camera back out, film some clips of a new step in the process, and then put the camera away for a couple of hours. And it tends to be the jobs that I don't have to worry too much about getting the next shot, getting the next clip, and such. And although I love that process as well, sometimes it's just nice to listen to some music, and that's something, of course, I can't do when the camera is rolling because YouTube will block everything if you're not careful with the kind of music you're playing. So yeah, it highly depends. For example, I love when a customer can join me in the workshop when I'm shaping his neck. That's something I really enjoy, when shaping a neck for a customer, having the customer here in the workshop with me, and to really customize his guitar neck, make it a bespoke guitar neck. And that's also maybe why I love live streaming, because I have a feeling there's someone sitting opposite of me at the other side of the bench, and we're just having a chat while I'm doing something. When I play music, what kind of music do I play for my own enjoyment? Oh, it depends. Sometimes I like more heavy music to play. I'm a big fan of, for example, the band Amorphis. Great singer, great guitar players. And if I just want to have something loud playing in the background when I'm feeling good, I'm usually putting on some Amorphis or Nightwish maybe. When I'm a bit more nostalgic, I will play some Marillion, but also I can put on some YouTube mix of Celtic metal, folk metal, things just a mix of stuff, but usually folk metal or something adjacent. Headphones for music. Yeah, but I tend to want to talk when I'm filming. But it's something I did in the past when I was doing time lapses, for example. I recorded time lapses without music, or I recorded time lapses without audio on the camera, and then had music playing. For example, when I was doing inlays or something. But the downside of recording time lapses to create the time lapse in your camera is that when you want to show something in detail or you want to do a compilation, you don't have any regular speed footage of that process. And in your video editing software, it's very easy to create a time lapse from regular footage, but not so much the other way around, because you're missing too much frames. You can slow down recorded time lapse to some extent, but it will get choppy real quick. And that's why I decided to no longer record time lapses directly in the camera, but I shoot everything real time and try to use sped up footage in my videos as much as possible, because I think it's and I hope it comes across as a more relaxing video and not as rushed, because doing sped up footage always rushes the video, and I really want to, for this series, to have a slower pace in my videos, and I hope I'm achieving that. But unfortunately I can't listen to music while recording real time, yeah, except maybe earbuds, but something I rarely do in the workshop, working with earbuds. Do you like bluegrass metal covers? Oh yeah, I love those dances with aardvarks. The Steven Seagulls are amazing, doing the bluegrass covers and making them original in a very original way. Yeah, it's something I like, but it's not always something I would put on, except when it's in a mix or in a playlist or something on YouTube or Spotify, and then I won't mind, and I love these things, but it's not something I think of putting on myself. Of putting it on, playing it. I don't know what the correct English is, but aardvark is indeed a Dutch word. Yeah. Roughly translated, it's a groundhog. Groundhog. Only a completely different animal. Do you have one wood supplier or a couple? Mostly one. I can say I have only one wood supplier, with very few exceptions. For example, when I needed the orange veneer for the fretboards I'm working on, it's something my wood supplier didn't have in stock, so I had to search for someone else. But other than that, I have my first choice will always be Massave, here in the Netherlands, in Zwolle, for all my wood. Yeah, I think I'm almost there, guys. Yeah, I think yeah, they've got the translation wrong, Dances with Aardvarks, because a groundhog, to my understanding, is something completely different. Yeah, I wish I could look it up on stream, but I'm too scared to touch the iPad. Oh. Let's see, aardvark, what the translation is in English. Oh, it's also called aardvark in English. There's no true English name for the animal. Yeah, I don't know if it shows up. Focus, come on. This is an aardvark. And it's called so in Afrikaans, Dutch and in English. Yeah, I might go to the Caribbean one day for a relaxing holiday, do some snorkeling, maybe some diving with a guide. Yeah, I think that's a different animal, Mr. Waffles. I'm not sure if the anteater is the same thing. This is such a slow process, guys. Incredibly slow. Let's see, any more questions? Like the cartoon. I don't know which cartoon. I know of was it a production company, a movie production company called Aardvark Pictures, Aardvark Productions or something? Ever seen William, a Chinese player who does rock covers? No, I don't think I've seen them. Dances with Aardvarks. I haven't seen them. Let's see. Rod McKay. Hi Daniel, where did you get your micro files from that you're using to file the inlays? I bought a couple of sets now. Yeah, I've got them from a Dutch company called HBM. It's a very large tool seller, I think you can call it, a shop that sells tools, but they also have their own brand manufactured, of course, in China. All kinds of tools, from bandsaws to spanners, but also these very tiny diamond files. Come on camera, focus. Those very tiny files, they also sell them and they're very, very cheap. They're not even $5, I think, but I didn't expect much from them, but I bought this set years ago and they're still very good. I don't know, it's maybe when you look for needle files, diamond needle files, you can find them, and maybe it's maybe something I can look into of making available to you guys if you're interested. Let me know if you're interested in these files. Of course there will be, I don't know if I can do them for the same price, but I can look into them if I can find them. Yeah, let me know if it's something you guys would be interested in. Maybe I can look them up. Maybe I can see if I can get a wholesale deal with these guys, so I can have them available for you guys. Alright, some Spanish. Yeah, a jeweler tools supplier. Also a good chance, and the company I'm referring to, HBM, is, as far as I could see, also one of the main tool suppliers for jewelers here in the Netherlands as well. They have different branches: automotive, woodworking, jewelry, welding, machining. They sell everything and anything when it comes to tools. Not only their own brands, but mostly their own brands, of course, but also other brands like Beta Tools for the automotive industry, Proxon, Shepach, I believe, for woodworking machines, and many others. How many mils? I'm down to the last half a mil, I think. Yeah, I'm almost there, but it won't show up on camera, but in the center I'm almost there, but it's the ends I need to focus on some more and getting it perfectly round. And it takes much longer than I expected, because I can only take off a very small amount with each pass. Unfortunately, I have to adjust it. And to be honest, that's what a lot of things, you're always optimistic on how long it will take. I think, well, start with a square, I've rounded it off in no time. But no, it's been an hour now and I'm not there yet. And to be honest, I'm also not paying that much attention to what I'm doing. It's more to keep my hands busy. And one question, guys, when it comes to these micro files, what are you guys trying to use them on? On wood, on metal, stainless steel, aluminium, acrylic, or mother of pearl? Hi Big Nasty, you didn't miss much. We're just talking, I'm answering questions from chat. And in the meantime, I'm trying to scrape down this piece of acrylic to become a 2.5mm diameter side dot. and it's taken much longer than I anticipated. But I'm almost there, I think. Oh man, it's hot in here. Alright, some aluminium, mother of pearl, abalone. They should work fine. These work fine on, I even filed stainless steel, thin stainless steel with these files, and they still work great. So they should be fine. They're not too good on wood because they clog up way too fast, unless you're sanding really hard woods like ebony, rock maple for example. They can do that to some extent, but they're really used on harder materials. And I will look into it. I will make a... I'm going to make a note. Look up micro files HBM. I'm not promising anything because I haven't been there in quite some time, and I bought these years ago. But I will look into them. Yeah, diamond files are for harder stuff. Or if you want to take off very little material, if you want to take it very, very slow, then they're basically very fine sandpaper. Got a couple of sets on Amazon. Yeah. Oh, I saw a question about headless. Micro. Are you talking about headless files, Stan T. Ford? Or are we talking about headless guitars? I wasn't that big of a fan of headless guitars. I didn't see the point until I worked on a Stromberg a couple of months ago. It was the first time I had a headless guitar with a fan fretboard here on the bench, and that did change my mind a bit. I think when you're traveling a lot and you have to take your guitar with you a lot, I think it makes a lot of sense to have a headless guitar. They're so tiny, they're so small. I think they are allowed as hand baggage on any flight, I think, because they're so small that you can take them as hand baggage, I think. And yeah, there was something about it. The headless, of course, it was a nightmare to set up, to be honest. And there wasn't that much possibility for adjustability on a Stromberg guitar. But other than that, yeah, it changed my mind a bit on the use. I think it has its use, especially when it comes to size of the guitar. Yeah, I was just joking. Oh, good question, James. James Hutchian. Do you have a pre-planned idea for the sound of each build, or does it change as the build progresses? I don't have a specific sound in mind. If you can speak of that, because we're almost touching on tone wood here. But not really. I do have some characteristics in mind. For example, am I looking for a more modern sounding guitar with more modern characteristics? And that means that I'm going to use some denser woods because they seem to get a bit more attack and they're a bit more direct sounding. And of course I'm going to use modern pickups, modern voiced pickups like Fishman, modern Fluence Moderns and such. And when I'm trying to get a more all-round guitar, a more classic inspired guitar like my single cut models, the Sonyas, I tend to go for the less denser woods, maybe not include a flayed maple top, not a hardwood top, but keep it a less dense body wood, lighter materials, incorporate the same wood types in the neck, and of course use more classic voiced pickups and hardware and electronics, because I really do believe that that makes the most difference. But other than that, I think the way I build my guitars, and I don't know exactly why, I have some ideas, but it's not something I can prove. For some reason my guitars always sound great even without an amp. So when you strum them, there's just something in the quality of how the strings ring and how it sounds acoustically, that everyone who plays them for the first time and hears them without going to an amp, it's something everyone notices. The clean sound and how it sounds acoustically. And in some videos you can hear it when I am done with the final assembly. When the guitar is strung up for the first time, I always strum it a couple of times just in the shop without an amp. And even then you can hear there's just something in it. And I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it has to do with how I distribute the mass in my necks and in the body. And that's all I can really say about that. Hopefully this answered your question. It wasn't too elaborate, James. But so, long story short, yeah, to some extent I have an idea of what I'm looking for. And due to the way I construct my guitars and I select the wood and the hardware, I can give each guitar a certain character. But I think tuning a guitar and having a specific sound quality in mind, I think you can have it, of course, but to achieve it with an electric guitar is more difficult, and I think it's also more important to do so when building an acoustic guitar, because then, yeah, of course, the thickness of the top and of the back and the material and the sides and your bracing and your purfling all comes into play on an acoustic guitar. That's not as much the case for an electric guitar, in my opinion. Well, tone wood, maybe. In a previous stream we decided that tone stain is much more important than tone wood. Having the correct stain makes all the difference. I think we decided on that in a previous stream. Hopefully someone can back me up on that. I think the construction is more important when it comes to the quality of the sound and not as much the tone. Let me get this straight, for a electric guitar. Whole different story for an acoustic guitar. Not really dances with aardvarks. The question was, because I don't know if there's a live replay of the chat when this video goes live. What's your favorite sounding retro guitar? Any preference for pickups? Not really, to be honest. And to be fair, I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with different guitar models, makes, brands of various price ranges to have a conclusive opinion on that. For the guitars I have played, yeah, well, you know what it is as a guitarist, and as a, and you can all agree, I'm sure, that you're never 100% satisfied with your sound, with your tone, or with the sound of your guitar, of your gear, of your pickups, your amp. And I think that makes us guitar players, and I think it goes for a lot of us. And that's why they keep making new pedals and new amps and new gear every year. Because we're always looking for, how do they call it, the tone quest. We're always on a tone quest to improve our sound. And when it comes to guitars, in my experience, of course, here we go again. It's also a vintage retro guitar, my Westone Pantera. And it has Westone branded pickups in it. And they're similar, I think, to Seymour Duncan Jazz pickups. I love those. They're not really tight, and that's what I'm missing in them when you're going to play some more modern music. They're not as tight as they could be. And you know what it is, when you hear your favorite guitar player play on a record or in the video clip, the sound is so processed. It's very hard to tell if it's from the guitar or if it comes from an effect, an amp, a studio, these days plug-in or something. And I always think it's hard to judge what comes from the guitar and what comes from the effects. Something I didn't like as much was the sound of single coils. What most people like about a Strat, for example, is something I really dislike. The metally, quacky sound of single coils. But also that's changing to some extent. We get older, we start to appreciate other things. And now sometimes I hear a Strat and I think, well, that's a great sounding Strat. That's a great sound. But it's something you have to, I think when you get older, you get less opinionated. And you start to appreciate other things more. And especially when it's in your profession, you have to always keep an open mind. I don't like biases for anything. So I always keep an open mind. And I'm not going to tell it's an awful sound. It's just something it's not to my taste. Yeah, very true. Okay. And I know, guys, there's a 20-second delay on the stream. At least one way. I don't know if it's how much delay there is. What amp I'm using? Mostly these days a first generation Boss Katana 50 watt and set to 25 watts. But when I was in a band, and I still have that amp, was a Line 6 Bochner, a tube amp, a Bochner tube amp with Line 6 modeling technology in the preamp. Or it was a Bochner preamp, so a full tube preamp, then there was Line 6 modeling, magic happening, and then a full Bochner tube amp, power amp section. And it was called the Spider Valve, in the Spider Valve series, the HD 100 head, I believe. I still have that amp, but it's way too loud. Even on stage it was too loud. That amp is ridiculously loud. It's a great amp, but it's ridiculously loud. And I had it for sale, but no one wanted it, so it's in my collection. And I recently got a Hughes & Kettner Grandmeister. Is it the Grandmeister? Also a tube amp with some modeling capabilities. Yeah, I don't know if it's due to a grounding issue inside my house, but that amp isn't for me. It's not my thing, so it's only in my showroom to be pretty and for someone to play who comes to visit and want to try it with one of my guitars. But the few times I play guitar is usually on a trade show, and then I have my little Boss Katana with me, and when I've tuned the guitars I strum them a bit, I play a bit, and then the guitars go on display, and that's it. I should play more. Ampac bass amp, yeah, can be loud. Oh yeah, there's another amp I have. It's a small little Warwick, bass amp that's now become my shop amp. Lovely little bass amp. It has two inputs, active and not active, and it also works great as just a clean amp in the workshop to work on guitars. And I had a professional jazz player once in the shop, and he loved the sound quality of that amp for his guitar. This is a bit annoying. No. Use your cheap calipers as a tool. Don't use the expensive Mototoya as a scraper. Mitutoyo. Hard to pronounce. Oh, this is too small. So, what is happening? It's 27 degrees in here, almost 28. I hope it's not going to be a week that's too hot, because unfortunately when it's over 25 degrees Celsius this workshop turns into a sauna and it gets too hot to do anything. I've got to finish my coffee. Oh. Cold coffee. Hey guys, I'm curious to know what are you guys looking for in a guitar when buying a guitar, when making it guitar? Rod McKay, Scotland uses Celsius, don't they? Fahrenheit. Let's see, Scotland weather. 18 degrees, 18 degrees, 17 degrees. Yeah, Scotland had this summer a couple of weeks ago for a few days. Same here, it's a bit strange. It's either it's raining, it's pouring cats and dogs, or it's hot like hell. And today it's both. It's both hot and it rains. Sean is looking for a perfect neck feel. Very important. Maybe the most important part of a guitar is the neck, and that's why I always take the longest making necks when making guitars. Fretboards, necks, most important part. Any specific features? Summer was like our trip to the Euros. Yeah, brief and unfortunate. Yeah. My current desire for a guitar is to have great flexibility in tone for recording, so I'm currently interested in 2 humbuckers with a single coil in the middle, with a coil split with 5 options. Yeah, Paul, then I can really recommend looking into the Fishman pickups. If you want flexibility with pickups, I think they're amazing. The pickups are, at least. The flexibility, especially from the both not bad at all, but I think the classics are a bit more versatile, or if you can afford them, the Tosin Abashi signatures. If you're looking for pickups that can do incredible clear and bell-like cleans, but also are tight enough and have enough punch for heavier stuff, heavy overdriven tones. Yeah, I can really highly recommend looking into the Tosin Abashi Fishman pickups. I have my pickup selected, the first one I want to build. Yeah, well, also great pickups, Paul. Seymour Duncan, there's nothing wrong with them. Come on. There's a stubborn... It's a bit stubborn at the ends. Well, the thing is with the Fishman pickups, the voice switching, getting essentially 3 pickups in one is just amazing. The earlier versions had only 2 voices. For example, the modern Fluences had only, was it 2? Yeah, I believe 2. Two voices, modern and puff, I believe. And then high frequency tilt or a 6 dB gain reduction. But these days, I believe all Fishman Fluents come also with the single coil mode. So usually you have modern, classic, or variants of modern, and then a single coil mode. Also great combo, Paul, having a 59 in the neck, a classic Strat in the middle. Yes they are. Yes they are, Paul. Those are active pickups, but how do you call it? You don't... Active pickups have become so good that the perception was, same with EMGs, that they were dead sounding, that there was no life in them, but that's no longer the case. And when going the active route, no matter if you're going with EMGs, I believe Seymour Duncan also has some active pickups, or Fishmans, or whatever pickups, active pickups you're going to use, I can highly recommend installing the Fishman battery pack. I know EMG is also developing their own battery pack that you can charge with just a phone charger or your laptop, so a USB rechargeable battery pack. It saves the hassle of having to wow, English, come on, speak. It saves you the hassle of having to carry around 9-volt batteries everywhere. I know I'm using the Fishman battery packs in my guitars, and with a 6-hour charge you can play approximately 250 hours. And it gives you a 6-hour, it gives you a notice 6 hours in advance before the battery is fully empty. There's a small little red LED that's lights up on the back of the guitar where the charging port is when the battery is almost empty. Or almost, you still have 6 hours. saves the hassle. Come on. Yeah, the ends are a nightmare. Come on. You know what? Bye-bye. To switch the voice control, can you do it with a mini switch push-pull? Do you need to change it? The voice switching of the Fishman pickups, very easy. You can do it directly on the pickup. So the back of the pickup, there are pins coming out of the back of the pickup. And for each voicing, there's a pin for each voicing and a ground. And they supply jumpers that you can use directly on the pickup if you want to set it to a specific voicing and don't want to be able to change it. So you can do it directly on the pickup. Or you can use a toggle switch, a mini toggle switch, and the only thing, you switch voices by connecting the voicing pin to ground. And you can either run it back to the ground on the pickup itself or to the common ground in your guitar. And you can do it either with a toggle switch, with a push-pull pot, with a push button, switch, you name it. As long as you connect the pin for the voicing to ground, that's when the voicing gets activated. And so it's always in voice 1, and when you connect voice 2 to ground, it goes into voice 2, and when you connect voice 3, the pin of voice 3 to ground, voice 3 gets activated, but voice 3 will override voice 2. So if you have two switches, for example, for voice 1, for voice 2 and for voice 3, and you activate them both, the guitar will be in voice 3. And you can combine your pickups. That's how I usually do it. So I have both my neck and my bridge pickup in either voice 1, 2 or 3. But if you want to use mini switches, for example, you can have for your neck pickup, for example, in voice 2 and your bridge in voice 1, and switch it around like that. So if you're using micro switches or maybe even 4 push-pull pots, you can get a lot of combinations. I always say that with regular humbuckers, Fishman humbuckers, and with just voice 1, 2 and 3, you get essentially 3 voices, and with a 3-way switch is 9 different sounds from a single guitar. So I think that's amazing to be able to create 9 unique sounds and pickups configurations with one guitar, and you can even get more by switching the neck and bridge pickup individually into a different voicing. Yeah, also would think that would be the case, dances, but because I'm of course scraping most from the middle, it tapers the other way around, and the ends were very hard to trim to size. So I'm focusing now more on the ends, and I know when I'm done, when I can keep my tool closed and run the rod back and forth without removing any material anymore, and that's when I'm done, I think. And you can see I'm almost there. And I think I'm going to finish it off by running it through some sandpaper. Now I'm just going to make sure it's nice and round. Yeah, the snips came out. I was done. I can be very patient, but I'm also streaming, so and we talked about nice stuff to do, and this could have also been something I could do during a streaming while doing boring stuff. But sometimes doing stuff like this, just spending mindless, or doing a mindless job for, well, 1 hour, 2 hours maybe, can be quite meditative. And it isn't interesting, it isn't difficult, but it is something I can enjoy once in a while. Just sitting here and running a piece of plastic through a tiny hole with a blade attached for a couple of hours. Let's see. .5 millimeters exact. Let's see my other material. This is the aluminium side dots I usually use. They're slightly above, so I have to What do you guys think? 2.5 millimeter side dots or 2 millimeter side dots? These might be a big. Yeah, sanding, same thing. That can also be very therapeutic. Oh yeah, there's still a tiny bit more to remove. I'm going blind in my old age. The bigger the better. Yeah, same here. And I hope to be able to finish the video that was planned for today. I hope to finish it for next week, and then you can see when I'm working on inlays. I have constantly I need to constantly put off my glasses, put them on again, put them off again, so it's, yeah, it's really time for me to have my eyes checked, but I don't have the time. Or I have the time, but I need to make time to have my eyes checked. Come on. Yeah, these are the side dots, just to be clear. But I would go 2.5. I think it would be blended in a bit more with the fretboard. Turning and staining. Yeah, I tried staining, like I did with the veneer. I tried staining some skewers, some cocktail sticks and some other material, some dowels, very tiny dowels and such. I tried to stain them orange, and I had them just sit in the bottle of stain for a couple of days, and I thought, well, it will soak in, it will wick itself in when I leave them for days. But I don't know if it shows up on camera. I don't think so. Hopefully, maybe. Come on, camera, don't focus on my face. Hide my face. No, it doesn't show up on camera. But the inside, even after days, was still just plain wood. Just like with the veneers I tried. And I honestly, I had them just, you can see it, just in the, standing up in the bottle for days. And it just didn't soak in all the way through, so. Staining, not an option, and I know some people say, well, you can glue them in first and then stain them afterwards, but that's something you can't do. As soon as there's super glue on the wood, for some reason, stain doesn't soak into the wood, but as soon as you glue it in and you try to stain it, the stain doesn't hold or doesn't catch on the wood. And I've had it so many times that there was a tiny dot of glue somewhere where the stain wouldn't stick, wouldn't soak in. So I'm not going to take that chance. So that's why I thought of using plastic, and I tried to find 2mm plastic rods in orange, but opaque. You can't find it. You can find them translucent, but not fully opaque. And I had a lot of acrylic left over from the experiment with the inlays. For those who haven't seen my, was it this video or previous videos? I don't know, but I had some acrylic left over from some experiments I did with inlays. And I thought, why not try and use a scrap and make it into orange side dots. Of course, I could also just drill a tiny hole and fill it up with epoxy, but with epoxy you have to wait for a couple of days for it to fully cure, and this will be done in just a couple of seconds. Dank u. Coffee. So that's a brief story why I'm trying to get a piece of acrylic to become round side dots. Yeah, I think you're correct. You're 100% correct, Dances, with aardvarks. And we talked about this, I think, also in the previous stream. I'm pretty sure it came up. that you will need a vacuum chamber. And I've looked into those, but it was another investment for something that I will only need once, twice a year maybe, and it takes up space, and I decided to not go that route. And this is a tool that took me 10 minutes to make. Of course it will take me about 2 hours to make the rod, but I think I can do 3, maybe 4 necks with one rod. And it gives me something to do during a stream, or maybe when I'm watching a stream or a long YouTube video. I keep watching the chat. And I try to position my camera in such a way that I'm almost forced to look at the camera, but I notice I'm glancing down at the chat. But I hope you guys don't mind. You don't outpull. No problem, no problem. No, I have been looking into a vacuum chamber when I tried to staining my own veneers and trying to get these wooden skewers and these wooden small wooden dowels to stain orange all the way through, because just having them in a bottle of stain for days doesn't work. And then I looked into vacuum chambers and decided not to get one because I don't need them that often. It takes up some space, or a lot of space, and it wasn't worth the investment for me at this point. Especially if I can also make a rod like this in a couple of hours that will last me through 3-4 necks maybe. And if this works and I need more, I can always look into having them made or something. But for those 2 necks I'm doing now, this is fine. And it gives me something to do during stream. Some success with a mason jar. Yeah, I think if you have a big mason jar or something like that, and you have a small vacuum pump, you can do it as well as certainly for smaller pieces like skewers, icicle sticks. I don't know for lengths of veneer if that would work in a mason jar. Maybe if it's big enough, but for smaller pieces, yeah, certainly. And maybe if you're going to make your own pickups to wax pot them, then it's also good to have a small vacuum chamber. Yeah. Tool question. Is your bench plane on the shelf behind you a low angle jack plane? If so, which make? And do you like it? I guess we're talking about this plane, because I don't think you can see this one. No, it's behind the banner. Ooh, it's a bit dirty. This is indeed a low angle plane. It's a 62 and it's an Axminster rider. And for the guys in the UK, you're all familiar, I'm sure, with Axminster. And I don't know if they make rider planes anymore. it's been a while since I last visited their website. But this is a an Axminster Rider 62, and it's a phenomenal plane. It has some rough edges, but that's to be expected for the price range these planes are in, and it takes some work setting them up, making sure the mouthpiece moves, so you have some cleaning up to do of some edges. But yeah, that's usually the case with more affordable tools, especially with planes. The money you save you have to spend in time to getting them just right, but when you get them just right, they're phenomenal planes. They do what they're supposed to do, and the Axminster Riders come with, let's see, can I show this on camera? Maybe. It comes with a very thick blade, so no skittering along the wood, and it comes with 2 blades, so you can have 2 blades ground, I don't know, to 2 different angles, for example, or have one sharpened at the ready for when one dulls out. But yeah, nice wooden handles, no burrs on the handles. So yeah, sometimes a bit, not too rough, but a bit rough around some edges. Nothing that you can't take care of with a little file or some sandpaper. But yeah, great little plane. It does what it should do, and not too expensive. Come on. Daniel, are you taking vacation this summer? Yeah, at the end of the summer. Hup. My wife, sorta, let's see if she can hear me, because I think she's watching the stream from inside, but she's making me coffee right now. Yeah, we're going to Luxembourg this summer, end of the summer, end of August, the beginning of September. We'll go hiking in camping and hiking in Luxembourg. So I'm very looking forward to that, although I hope to have finished the Phoenix guitar by then, but it will be close. I have a feeling I won't make it before I take my vacation, and we're going hiking for 3 weeks, so there might be a period that my content, there's a bit less content, and most likely no live streams, but maybe I'll do a quick little stream from Luxembourg when we're hiking. So yeah, I'm taking a vacation. Yeah, it's also something I've been thinking about, Rod, using the trimmer wire. But I didn't know it was 2 mils, but it's something I have to look into. Maybe still. Like I said, I've also looked into PLA filament or ABS filament for 3D printers, but it's 1.78 at the thickest printer filament, so it's slightly too thin. But it's I have to look into other materials, but indeed those trimmer wires might do the trick, because I think that's also acrylic. Nylon maybe, because if it's nylon it might be hard to glue. Yeah, Dances with Aardvarks. I tried to stain my veneer with a vacuum bag, but it didn't work out. It looked great on the outside, but as soon as you cut it, it doesn't penetrate all the way through. I did a test with a vacuum bag. It's one of my latest videos on the Phoenix guitar build, staining veneers. It didn't work out. They still make the planes, alright? Oh, thanks, Big Nasty. Yeah, I can finish her when I'm back from vacation. But yeah, like I said earlier in the stream, at the beginning of the stream, it's still something I'm struggling with. Time, the time pressure of having to release content. And although I said in the beginning of this building series, I'm going to take my time because I want it. Yeah, merci. I want this guitar made to the best of my abilities, whatever it takes, how long it takes. But when you're spending weeks and weeks on a single fretboard, or in my case on 2 fretboards to be honest, time is getting to be an issue in my mind. And although maybe you guys don't mind, it's something I still have a hard time with, to justify the time I'm taking to make a single fretboard. Oh, thanks Rod McKay. 2.4 would be ideal. 2 mil, 2.4. Alright, then this is the last time I'm doing this by hand. I'm going to look into Rod's suggestion of using grass trimmer cord. Thanks very much. I will definitely look into it. Which part of Luxembourg? I spent some time there when I was younger, en route to Switzerland for hiking, biking holidays. Eischen, we're going to Emsdorf, which is in the middle of the Mullertal. Oh, did I just cut myself? Maybe. I made the wooden block. I cut it at the incorrect side of the line, so there's a tiny bit of the blade sticking out right here. So I have to keep in mind not to cut myself. So yeah, we're going to Emsdorf. So if anyone's in Luxembourg last week of August, yeah, come and say hi. Yeah, there are bright orange anodizing dyes for aluminium, but I don't think anodizing aluminium goes all the way into the material, because the aluminium wire I'm using, I normally use for my side dots. They also sell these in very bright colors, but as soon as you cut them, they're just aluminium colored in the inside. They're also anodized, but not all the way through. Volte 1234, good morning or good evening. Not sure. And that's the problem with a lot of materials you buy that are colored, that usually the inside isn't colored. And of course, for side dots, the part we're interested in is the center, is the core of the material. Oh. I think I'm there, guys. Let's see. It feels nice and round. Not perfectly round yet, but there's a solution. Okay. Let's see. that one's empty. Oh yeah, it's nylon. So I have to see if I can glue nylon. Maybe with epoxy. But it's something to look into because it's relatively cheap. Especially for 100 meters. I can make 1,000 guitars with 100 meters of nylon cord. So yeah, thank you very much for looking this up for me, Rod. I really appreciate it. So let's try and get it as round as possible. Not quite, not quite. But I don't want it to go too fast, so yeah, Volte, these are the side dots. I'm making my own orange side dot material. Now I have to make sure they're round. Yeah, Paul, time to leave the office. It's very late already, and see you later. Talk to you later this week. Am I there yet, guys? I might have to give it one more go. Nope. Bye, dancers. Bye bye. Thanks for joining the stream. so. So, let's polish her up a bit. And I think I'm there. You can move big. No, I have to try not to melt it. It feels nice and smooth. It feels round to the touch, but as soon as I use my calipers and I turn it, I can feel it's not entirely round. And I'm exactly at 2.5 mils. So I think it's good. Multitasking dances. We're multitasking. Yeah, this is fine. And this is one of my traps that I can get so focused of getting this rod perfectly 2.5 millimeters and perfectly round. And that's when you're doing something by hand. You feel every imperfection in this tiny rod, and when I would have bought this in a store, you would have just took it out of the packaging, took it from the store and just use it straight away without getting it a second thought if it was perfectly round or perfectly 2.5 millimeters. So I don't think anyone has ever gone through the same process with a bought rod for side dots, of measuring it and making sure it's absolutely perfectly round. I think everyone would just take the rod, drill a hole, glue it in, snip it off, sand it flat, done. And I think I could spend another hour getting this absolutely perfectly rounded, that even with your calipers that you can't feel anything anymore. What do you guys think? Is it worth the extra hour? Or would you just use it as is and don't worry about the tiniest of, how do you call it, deviations in roundness and diameter, and the very fine tolerances? Let's see. Double dipping, just a little late. Hi Dennis. I think it's Dennis or Danish. I saw a lot of your comments and saw your email and the message you sent me, and I have to reply to you, and I will do so hopefully tomorrow or later this week. So I will reply to you if you was to be wondering, Danish. So good evening. Nice of you to join the stream. Barry also, hi. Yeah, we're a bit late, but hey, thank you for joining us anyway. We can have another half an hour or so of stream time, so haven't missed much except me scraping away at a piece of acrylic for almost 2.5 hours. I'm making my own side dot material from a piece of orange acrylic, and I was just wondering when good is good enough. Indeed, Steve. Yeah, right, nice work. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Rod McKay. I agree. That's the difference between a one-off handmade guitar, instruments, piano, car, whatever you buy that's made one at a time. The attention to detail should be much higher than something that's more or less mass produced. But for me it's always, same was with doing the inlays last week, sanding the edges. I've sanded the edges for hours and hours at end, just to make sure every curve was tangent to the next, and they were all nice curves, no bumps, no humps, all edges were as smooth as possible. And I spent, I think, at least 4 hours too much on getting them absolutely perfect. But same goes with this rod. I could have, yeah, I think it's done. Oh, it's just called Dennis. All right. I will call you Dennis then. Yeah, I tried that method as well, Barry, but the acrylic kept breaking when trying to pull it through a piece of metal and have a burr scrape the edges. I tried that, and when doing it by hand, the acrylic would snap, and when trying to use my cordless drill and pull it through while running the drill, it would just at some point get caught in the metal, and then the drill would twist the acrylic and it would snap, or it would get too warm, too hot, and I would just pull strings, twisted strings. So the best method I found, and we talked about this in the stream before, earlier. We talked about this earlier, that's the correct English. I made a scraping tool. So essentially 3 holes, 3 different sizes, a blade just sticking just proud of the hole, a little hinge, and I could use this as a scraper and essentially have the same principle, just pull it through consecutive. So first a big hole until it was nice and round, and then use a smaller hole until I finally came to the correct diameter. So it took a bit longer. About the extra work, it depends. Do you see the difference? And I think that's a good question from Dennis. Do you see the difference? Not always, but I know. I know the difference, and that's the difference where different perspective from the builder, in this case from me, and someone who's looking at the guitar. As a builder, of course, anyone who's made anything really, if you put new wallpaper on the walls of your house, or you made a guitar, the hours you spend looking at a part or at your work, you know every little detail, so every little mistake, every little scratch or inconsistency, you know, and you don't always see it, and usually you don't, especially after a while, but you know it in the back of your mind. And that's when you're a perfectionist like me, just the thought of there might be something wrong drives you crazy. I could have spent maybe a day more on getting this rod absolutely perfect, because now I see in one of the side dots it's slightly oval shaped when I look at it with a microscope or with a magnifying glass. It's just the thought that I know that the side dot might be slightly oval instead of perfectly round. That's things that maybe no one sees it ever, but it's knowing that's the problem, at least for me. So I have to convince myself, okay, this is good enough, this is good. No, I have to be happy with it. If it's the shape of the neck or just the roundness of a side dot. You think it's close enough? Yeah, me too. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. And sometimes you just can't stop finicking with it. Yeah, those are the things that could drive you crazy, Rod. You're absolutely right. Just being off by just 0.2 millimeters. Early CNC machines weren't that precise, but just knowing that there's something off. And that's the thing, some people like to see that there's something off in a handmade instrument, because when it's too perfect they don't believe it's handmade. That's a bit of a, how do you call it? It's a contradiction or a paradox. People want an expensive guitar. Yeah, I think it's a paradox. People want an expensive guitar to be perfect, but they all at the same time want to see it's handmade as well. So they want to see little imperfections in the perfect guitar. Oh, that might be a good slogan. I'm going to keep that one for myself. Yeah, Barry, we're all our own worst critic. Slight chance, or there's a good chance, I meant to say, Dennis. Sometimes I'm tempted to, when I wake up in the middle of the night, to go back to work and finish stuff. Because when something goes wrong, I'm very inclined to keep working at it until it's until I'm satisfied. Not until it's perfect, but until my mind is at ease that I can either solve it the next day or when I'm happy with the result. And sometimes this means that I have to keep on working through the night or until very late at night, until something is done or that I'm satisfied with it. And luckily these days I can sleep through the night, but a year ago I suffered from insomnia, and yeah, then I was very inclined to keep working, although I couldn't. I was incapable of doing anything, but waking up at night and not being able to sleep because you're worried about something, and then being incapable to do something about it. That was frustrating, and now these days luckily I can for the most part sleep through the night, and when I have an issue I'm able to get myself to in such a state that I'm able to fix a problem. And sometimes I have to take a walk first, take a walk for half an hour, then get back into the shop and work on solving a problem or solving a mistake or redoing, for example, the inlays. I had to redo 2 inlays. Let's see, more questions. Hi Daniel, I'm nearing completion of my first guitar, a Strat, Steve guitar. I've learned so much from watching your videos. I'm grateful, thank you. Well, Steve guitar, you're very welcome. I'm glad to hear you found my channel and my videos have helped you to complete your first guitar build. That means I'm not doing this for well, nothing. That at least my content is helpful. We would love to see a video on how you sharpen your gouges. Oh yeah, I can do a sharpening video maybe. I think there are already a lot of sharpening videos out there, some very good ones. I always recommend sharpening tutorials by Paul Sellers because he isn't biased and he doesn't tell you you should do it like this, like most videos. If you don't do it, 99% of the woodworkers don't do this, and that's why they fail. And those videos, I don't like those. But yeah, maybe I do a sharpening video, my style of sharpening, in a separate video. I occasionally do some sharpening tips and tricks in my regular videos, but I have to put this on the to-do list if you're interested. I have to step away and calm my mind and focus on something else and come back. Yeah, that's a healthier solution, Barry, to be able to step away. I'm starting to learn to take a step back, to go and do something else. But usually my mind is so occupied with that issue that I can't think of anything else. And when I'm trying to do something else, like I had this weekend, I get panic attacks, and you get a panic attack because your mind can't focus or can't unfocus from a certain problem or a certain topic. That's the main reason why people get panic attacks, is that you can't unfocus and you're making the problem personal. While most of the time it isn't personal, but you make it personal and your mind can't unfocus. And although you try, and the harder you try to unfocus, the more panicked you usually get. Or at least that has been my experience the last year. Yeah, the oversized. Yeah, it might have been a good excuse for a 7-string Phoenix. I used one oversized Phoenix inlay for a test piece to test where the problems with routing might occur, and if I could route these tiny details and what size router bit to use. But I still have one left, and yeah, I have to give this piece a purpose. I specifically chose a nice piece of black Limba to do the inlay in, to maybe give this piece a purpose. I'm not sure what yet. Could you please tell us the brand of my jeweler sauce? Can't find it on the internet. Oh, ow! It's my knee. This is my jeweler saw, and the brand is Niqua, so Niqua. IQUA. It's made in Germany. And Dennis, because I know you're in the Netherlands, Baptiste sells these in different sizes. They have even deeper ones, shorter ones, and you can adjust these, but they have different sizes, and they're not even 20 bucks, I believe, 25 bucks. They're relatively cheap, and because they're made in Germany, they're high quality. The thumb screws all work very well. Nice handle, wooden handle. So yeah, Dennis, if you're looking for one, look up Baptiste. They sell these. Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? The inlay, and it's even now it's, oh, where's the camera? There's the camera. And it's still, there's still epoxy resin over top. I haven't sanded it flat yet because it still has to cure for another 3 days, I believe. I found out when doing the inlays last weekend that the epoxy has to cure for 6 to 7 days. That was a big surprise. It wasn't on the bottle of resin. I don't know the Green Lion frame saws. I have to look them up, but I think I know the new concept jeweler saws, or what's called fretting saws or coping saw. They're different names for the same thing, but I don't like them either. Maybe they're very good, but I just don't like the look of them. I think they're a bit over-engineered and overpriced for what it is. Maybe I'm wrong, and if someone of New Concepts is watching this stream, get in touch. I'm willing to give them a try, but and you can convince me otherwise. The Eclipse saw with quick tension is right. That's also something I haven't heard of yet. And that's maybe a bit of a downside of being in the Netherlands. It is changing a bit, but we're not a big tool company when it comes to fine woodworking. We're more in construction and stuff like that, remodeling, construction. But when it comes to fine woodworking, there is only, well, if you I think only there's one truly specialized shop in fine woodworking in the whole country, and there are a couple of shops that have some, that also sell some hand tools, planes and such, but not specialized in fine woodworking per se. But it's coming more and more. But yeah, for a country that was in the past known for fine woodworking and all kinds of woodwork, there's not much left of it. That's a bit unfortunate. So a lot of brands and a lot of tools we come across, we have to learn from it, mostly from YouTube. Oh, I don't know, Dennis, to be honest. I think this is the 80 millimeters. So it's 80 millimeters from the back to where the blade is, I think, and the 100 is a bit deeper. And to be honest, if I had the choice, I would buy another one that's a bit wider, because sometimes when doing some inlays I get stuck on the material, especially when you try to cut your inlay from a larger piece of stock to save on material. And if there still is, I think they were 15, not even 20 bucks, so maybe get both. Is that a cam tension or is it a cam to tension the blade? On my saw, no, it's just a tightening screw at the top. There's just a wing nut on top, and you can tighten the blade that way. You got it as a gift. Rod, you're lucky. Those are the titanium one is very expensive. Yeah, Dennis, they're dirt cheap. For German made jeweler saws. They're cheap. And they will last you a lifetime. If you don't drop them or don't mistreat them, they will last you a lifetime. For 20 bucks. Yeah, they've got several sizes. And if you've ever have a chance, Dennis, visit the shop. Leave your wallet at home, put $100 in your pocket, leave your wallet and your debit card at home, and visit their shop. I can highly recommend it. Like I said, it's the one of two, maybe three shops in the Netherlands you can go to find all things woodworking. So, yeah, I have to stop sanding. So I'm going to hide my tools. I'm going to put this right there. Because otherwise I keep sanding without thinking and then I might taper them incorrectly. Oh yeah, I had microfiles. So let's see let's go for another 10 minutes, guys. Then I'm going to go inside the house and call it a day. Going to relax a bit. Yeah. So measure it for one last time so I can sleep well tonight. Let's see. Hi Little Wolf, good evening. The Misadventures of a Little Wolf. Yeah, I don't have anything to say, guys. If you don't have questions, I have to come up with topics. Oh yeah, I have a question. Are you using... No, Dennis, I'm not. I'm using just Scalia or Baco blades in my jeweler saw. I'm either using the Scandia number 3 or 5. They used to have number 1 as well. So I'm using these blades. Or the ones from Baco. And those are the 302. Come on, focus. Those blades, the 302 from Baco. Or yeah, 302 71N, 12 piece, so 12 pieces. And you can see those are the Scandia number 5. They're a tiny bit coarser than the number 3. And these are the blades I use for my aluminium inlays. Oh yeah, Simon Duffy, and for Little Wolf. What I've been doing most of my time is I've been scraping away at a piece of orange acrylic to create side dots for the Phoenix Rising guitar. I wanted to have orange side dots, but I couldn't find pre-made orange side dot material, so I decided to make it myself. So we've mostly been chatting about vacation, about micro diamond files, about being patient, about making mistakes, dealing with mistakes, about how detailed you should get. What else have we been talking about, guys? We've been talking about for almost 3 hours about several topics. But I've been mostly scraping away at a piece of acrylic to make these 2.5 millimeter diameter side dots, which I'm going to use in an upcoming video. YouTube just told me you were live. Yeah, we've been live for almost 3 hours now, and we're going to be live, unfortunately, for just a couple of more minutes. But yeah, the initial stream, I don't know what it is. When I launch a stream from my streaming software, YouTube doesn't recognize it until I stop it. And that's why you always get 10 to 20 second video that pops up on my channel. That's because for some reason there's a very long delay when I start the stream from my software until YouTube starts the live stream that has been scheduled in the YouTube studio, and then my software says the stream isn't running, and as soon as I stop it, I see YouTube picking up for some reason the delay, and then I have to start a new stream directly from my streaming software, and then all the settings are gone, and it's always a big mess. And I've already contacted publisher if they can look into it, or if I'm doing something wrong or something, but I haven't heard from them yet. So I have to experiment a bit with the best way to set up a scheduled live stream and being able to start it from the software I'm using. And otherwise I might need to invest in a different setup, unfortunately. Do you make your own guitar cases? No, not yet. Up until this point, I'm going to put this away because I'm going to break it. I'm going to put it away before I break it. Guitar cases? No, not yet. Up until this point, I bought guitar cases and I customized them to my guitars. For the current guitar build, I'm thinking about maybe making my own case. I think it will be a fun project to do. But the downside, I think, with homemade cases, they tend to be too heavy for the durability, if that makes sense. I think you can have a better, sturdier case bought than you can make it yourself at the same weight, if that makes sense. I tend to use ABS molded cases. So yeah, but I'm also thinking about getting my own cases made by a company. But usually you have to order several cases for it to be viable when it comes to price. So I have to look into that some more if I have the time. But this is one of those things I just don't have the time for, unfortunately. No, YouTubers never make mistakes. And that's the cool thing. If you have a whole team and a good video editor and a big budget, you can hide all your mistakes in video editing, because you can be making 2, 3, 4 guitars at once. As soon as you make a mistake, just swap them out or start over again. And that's the difference. I don't have any backlog in my videos. What I do today, you will see in next week's video, or in this case, this week, is a bit of an exception, because I'm a week behind with editing. But most YouTubers will have already finished the guitar before they release the first video. And that's why they can also do all kinds of crazy stuff with editing, something I can't do, because I don't have any backlog. Yeah, Little Wolf, like I said, I'm tempted to do it for the Phoenix Rising guitar, because otherwise I have to buy an oversized, special shaped case, which most likely doesn't fit the guitar very well. Because this is a very special build, I want to give this guitar a very special case. So I might do a case, a leather strap video, how to make a leather strap for this guitar, and most likely how to make, and I'm going to make not a how-to video, because it will be the first guitar case I'm going to make. I've made cases before and chests before, so that wouldn't be a problem. But I'm going to make my own case, most likely, for this guitar, and maybe do a nice big Phoenix inlay, one I have left as an inlay in the lid of the case. On average, how long does the video editing take for your videos? I always say about an hour for every 5 to 10 minutes of videos. It depends on how long the end result is. For a half-hour video, I tend to say an hour for every 10 minutes. Now it's a bit longer. 2 hours, I think, for about 2 hours for 10 minutes. For the hour-long videos, it takes me about 12 to 16 hours on a video to edit it. Almost 2 full working days. It's a lot of work. And I usually tend to not edit the entire video in one sitting. I usually start at Wednesday afternoon when I come home from my other job. I come home at Wednesday afternoon. I tend to edit for about 4-5 hours until I'm going to work out. And then usually Thursday night, Friday night, and usually either the entire Saturday or Sunday I'm editing my videos. So it's usually a couple of hours over the course of a couple of days. Yeah, and that's the beauty of live streaming, Steve, indeed. Because today I haven't done anything and I have 3 hours of content. I can spend time with you guys, so that's a great thing about, there's I think a lot of positive things about live streaming. It's less work to create content, and that's why, for example, game channels can create masses of content. They do a 5-hour live stream and they cut it up into 5 videos. They can put up on YouTube each day and also launch a live stream, usually on a second channel. So they can create masses of content in just one evening. So that's a bonus, easy content creation. And for me, another huge benefit of live streaming is being able to have way more direct contact with you guys than I could do with comments and text. Because I read all the comments, but the time it requires to read everything and then also come up with a nice reply to each and every one, it's very time consuming and I don't have the time to do so. I read some comments on the go on my phone, and being able to live chat and see what you guys are asking or telling me, and then I can react almost instantly. And although a bit ashamed that there's a 20 to 30 second delay on this stream, but I can almost react to you guys instantly, and I like live streaming a lot because of that. And that's why I'm trying to come up with ways to live stream more and have better ways, because now my camera is static. I would love to have at least one extra camera, and that's why there are these tipping and super chat notifications up here, and that's where the money from these live streams goes to. Is for me to be able to afford a second camera, and hopefully one day a gimbal that can follow me around the workshop, so that I can have a more dynamic stream and can show you more details when I'm working on something and switching in between points of view. And last stream I was able, when I was cutting the inlays, I could have one overhead camera, so my main camera was set up overhead and I used the tiny cam on my iPad as a face cam, but it was low quality and still only 2 cams, and I would love to have a more dynamic stream, so I can maybe one day live stream an entire guitar build. I would love to do so. Oh, any critique is welcome, Little Wolf. Because if you critique me too much, I'll send you. I will order my guitar straps from you. Oh, thank you, Dennis. Thank you for the comment on the quality of the live stream. Yeah, guys, we're there. I've been so I'm getting tired, and English is getting harder and harder. We're already 10 minutes due the time I said I would stop streaming. I give it 3 more minutes to say goodbye to you guys, and then it's 10 o'clock right here. I'm going to drink something, relax a bit before I go to bed and have to go to my day job tomorrow. Three hours of sewing, yeah. I think I spend a bit more on stitching an entire guitar strap by hand than 3 hours. But it will be great. I think that would be a lovely live stream project, the guitar strap. Maybe I can do it in a day, a strap. Starting early morning by cutting the leather, just one strap. And then stitching for the rest of the day. Maybe that would be a nice live stream to do. Yeah, Barry, I've seen him, but these days I've come to the conclusion that making my own tools, of course, it takes up time. It might seem cheaper to some to make your own gimbal, to make your own tools, but in the long run, if you have to factor in your time, which I have to do as a company, as a business and as a creator, I'm very aware of time because I'm always short of it, that I don't have the time to make my own tools, and it's easier and usually a bit better to just buy them when it comes to gimbals and tracking software, because I can maybe learn myself how to program and how to work with a Raspberry Pi or with a what's the other thing called? Not the Raspberry Pi, but the Uno Blue. I can't recall what's it's named. It's on the top of my mind, but or on the tip of my tongue, but I can't recall it. Arduino. Yeah, here we go. Arduino. I can, of course, learn myself how to use it, how to build with it, and then build my own gimbal and write my own tracking software. But it would take me days, not maybe even months. And it won't be as perfect working and flawless working as a bought gimbal, and it's something I can't afford, because when I'm live streaming, for example, or doing videos or creating content, and something isn't working, it's a big stress factor, because I have to, especially when it comes to camera gear and such, it must be almost fire and forget. That's why I bought a brand new Lumix S5 Mark II the day it came out, because it's such a weight off my back to have a camera that's good, has good light sensitivity, so I don't have to finick with apertures and shutter speeds all the time. I can just put it on manual, adjust the ISO and adjust the aperture and hit record, and I start recording. It has 2 memory slots. I can put 128 gigs in the side, and I don't have to think about it. And the same goes for everything that has to do with production. And that's not my core business. So my core business is making content, making beautiful bespoke guitars, and doing setups and customizations to existing guitars, and that takes up all my time. So unfortunately I don't have too much time for side projects. One of the side projects I'm going to do, I think this week, is getting a new tripod for my camera, so I can give you guys some overhead shots, and it makes it easier for me to set up different shots. And that's something I'm going to be making myself, because this camera stand I wanted to buy cost 10,000 euros, and that's something I'm not willing to spend on a tripod. Yeah, Steve, good night, good night. Yeah, we're going to put an end to it, guys. It's 10 o'clock. And I can talk to you forever, but next stream, next stream. Yeah, guys, thank you very much. I could talk to you for hours, like I said, but we're going to call it a night. I hope to see you all in the next stream, and of course the regular schedule, so the regular video on me doing the inlays will be live next Monday, and yeah, keep an eye out for the next live stream. I will sure to make an announcement in the community tab. So thank you guys, have a good night, and see you all later. Bye bye.